Christ means. So you have these people, I mean, some of them maybe not, but a lot of the really radical ones are actually claiming to be other Christs right now. But what about religious deception? What's religious deception like? Well, I said about it earlier. It's greater than it's ever been before. There's more religious con artists and religious deception now than ever before in history. And, you know, I'll be very honest with you. Most of the preachers out there today, I can't listen to them. It goes against me. It's just, I just can't listen to them. I don't want to waste my time on them. And I'm going to get into that and the reason why I can't listen to a lot of these false preachers and the reason why a lot of you can't listen to them either. I'm going to show you the reason why at the end of this message. But let's look at verse 6. It says, "And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet." The end is not yet. Okay? Wars and rumors of wars. How's that for today? We have Afghanistan. They say the war in Iraq is over, but I doubt that. I doubt it very highly. They're still there doing operations and whatever. But what about Iran? What about North Korea? See? There's rumors of wars. Now, is that, you say, well, there have been wars in the past. Yeah, but not like today. Not like today. I mean, there are so many wars going on right now and uprisings and riots and all kinds of other stuff. It's incredible. Look at verse 7. "For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in divers places." Okay, are nations rising against other nations? Yeah. And there's more than just a military type of war, too, I might add. There's financial war. You see, one of the best ways to destroy a country is not necessarily with missiles and soldiers with automatic rifles. A good way to destroy a nation is economically. You go in and you wipe them out economically. And if you haven't noticed, America is under attack economically. And we're losing the battle. Okay, we're not going to win. Kingdom against kingdom, certainly we see that. Famines. What's the reason that they're revolting in Egypt? Famine. People can't get food. And when you can't get food, you really don't have much left to lose. You're starving to death. So they say, well, what are you going to do about it? Well, I'm going to go against the people. Well, you might get shot. So what? I'm dying anyhow. People that have nothing left to lose it. It's getting bad. Pestilences. There are man-made diseases. I'm not going to go off on that. But also things like diabetes and cancer have just absolutely exploded in the last 50 years. I heard a medical doctor saying the one time that used to be that a child under 10 that had cancer, it was a rare thing, and doctors would actually fly, hundreds of miles away. They would fly to the medical clinic to examine a child that was under 10 years old that had cancer. And now there are whole hospitals dedicated to children that have cancer. Why? Is pestilence on the increase? Yeah. I mean, I don't know the actual numbers. I didn't take the time to research it. You can research it yourself. But I've heard numbers as much as 3,000% that things like diabetes have gone up. Just in the last, 20, 30 years even. What's going on? Something's happening. Something is changing. What about earthquakes? In diverse places. Okay, in other words, in many places, in a lot of different places. Well, according to the United States Geological Survey, they estimate that there are approximately 50 earthquakes every day worldwide. 50. And that's the ones that they're picking up. There are ones probably in remote areas that they don't have any seismographs nearby that they aren't even picking up. 50 earthquakes a day times 365 days. That's a lot of earthquakes. And it was funny because they said on the website, watch out for oppositions of science falsely so called. 1 Timothy 6:20. You got to watch out for that. But they said on their website that earthquakes really, they're not increasing. These earthquakes, they've always been like this. We just didn't have the instruments in the past to read this many. Well, that's nonsense. Okay, any scientific, real, true scientific research shows that earthquakes are massively increasing. Why? What's going on? Is it, maybe it's global warming, maybe it's the, whatever. No, because the Bible said so. God's doing it. All right. Verse 8. All these things that we just went over are the beginning of sorrows. It's just getting started. Isn't that amazing? All the crazy stuff that we've seen here, that we're seeing right now, it's just getting started. The ball is just starting to roll. The axe is just starting to fall. It's incredible. And if you remember earlier, we read about Acts chapter 2, verse 19 said, "And I will show wonders in heaven above and signs in the earth beneath, blood and fire and vapor of smoke." So you're going to see things in heaven above and in the earth beneath. Now, one of the subjects I want to cover here, a lot of people have a question about this, is what about all these bird and fish and animal deaths that you're seeing all over the world? And I have a paper here. This thing goes to January the 14th. And this is not accurate because there have been many since then. Okay, but this is all the list of all of the animal and fish and bird deaths. And it actually, people say it began in the new year. No, actually it started back in December of this past year. The first one that they have listed here happened December the 13th of 2010. Thousands of dead barramundi fish wash up in Australia. I'm not going to read all of these, but it's thousands of fish and more than 100 dead pelicans turn up in North Carolina, December 22nd. 10 tons of mostly dead fish found in a fishing net in New Zealand. Hundreds of dead sea creatures, scores of dead fish. 70 bats found in Tucson, Arizona. That's the 28th of December. Dozens of fish found dead in San Antonio, Texas. Now here's the one that was reported on. December the 31st, 5,000 plus dead birds found in Arkansas, suffering from massive trauma and blood clots. And they said it was the fireworks. The fireworks from New Year's Eve, because it was New Year's Eve. They found them the next day. Okay, January the 1st. I can tell you that's nonsense. Fireworks going off is not going to cause massive trauma. They said basically that the insides of these birds were liquefied. That's not going to come from fireworks. Something major is going on there. In the Arkansas River, just a little bit away from there, they found 100,000+ dead fish. On the 3rd, the same day, 100 tons of dead fish wash ashore in Brazil. 100 tons. That's a lot of fish. A whole lot of fish. Washing up, and this is in Brazil. The same day that things are happening in Arkansas. What's going on? It's worldwide. Tens of thousands of dead fish wash ashore in Chesapeake Bay, Maryland. And we're going to hear this report a little bit later. I'm actually going to play this in just a few minutes here. But they claimed it was from a cold snap in the water. Absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely just stupid. I mean, if you don't know the truth, just keep your mouth shut kind of thing. Most of these, they say it's unknown causes. They have no idea. Our modern scientists don't have any way of explaining this. And, it goes down through dead crabs, dead turtle doves found in Italy, starlings in Romania. This one's a good one. Dozens of dead starling birds turn up in Romania, blamed on drunkenness. Well, maybe it was, God's judgment on the drunks over there. I don't know, but that would be the only way it could be blamed on drunkenness. But anyways, it just goes down through. Like I said, I can't read all of them. The last one that's on the list here is January the 14th. 200 dead cows in Wisconsin. allegedly caused by a virus, they said. 200 dead cows just laying dead all over the place. And what they didn't report is on that exact same day, there were 7,000 dead buffalo in Vietnam. And a couple days later, it went up to 13,000 dead buffalo. And the last report that I saw, this was in February actually, there were a couple thousand dead fish that died in the Amazon River. And they blamed it on the people that lived by the river. They had fires going, and the ash from the fires went into the water, and it deprived the fish of oxygen, and the fish were sticking their head out of the water to get oxygen. That killed them. That was the scientific explanation. I mean, these people have no idea. You know, I often am amused by the thought of how they're going to explain the events of the tribulation. They're not going to be able to explain it. They're going to come up with all kinds of nutty nonsense. Right now, they have no idea. When they say unknown causes, that's partly true. What they should be saying is, it looks like God's wrath is coming soon on this planet. And you better get saved and you better get right. But of course, they're not going to say that. And by the way, I'll say this before I continue. Most of mainstream media isn't even covering the animal deaths anymore. And still going on. Animal, fish, and bird deaths are still here. And I'm going to show you the reason for them. Turn back to the book of Hosea, one of the minor prophets in your Old Testament. Actually, it comes right before the book of Joel. Hosea chapter 4. Now, we've been over this before in our Bible study, but I'm going to read it here for you that are listening in on sermon audio. Hosea chapter 4 verses 1 through 3. Now this is written to Israel. Okay? But remember this time period coming up, this time of Jacob's trouble, it's for the Jews. The tribulation time period is for the Jews. So these signs that we're seeing, the signs of the second coming of Jesus Christ, are specifically for the Israelites. Now we can see them. We know perfectly. We can see the day of the Lord approaching, and we can say, okay, at some point in time, we're not appointed to God's wrath. We're not going to have to go through that judgment. Our judgment came at Calvary. Okay, that's where your judgment comes. As a Christian, you get saved. Your judgment as far as heaven or hell is over at salvation. You're on your way to heaven. You're not going to lose your salvation. But things are different for the Israelites. Let's read here. Hosea chapter 4, verses 1 through 3. Hear the word of the Lord, ye children of Israel, for the Lord hath a controversy with the inhabitants of the land, because there is no truth, nor mercy, nor knowledge of God in the land. Sounds like a lot of places here in America, doesn't it? By swearing and lying and killing and stealing and committing adultery, they break out, and blood toucheth blood. Again, sounds like modern day America. And this is the way things are over in Israel too, by the way. They're unbelieving right now. Verse 3, Therefore shall the land mourn, and every one that dwelleth therein shall languish, with the beasts of the field, and with the fowls of heaven, yea, the fishes of the sea also shall be taken away. Wow. Right there it is. Another sign coming to pass right before your eyes. And see, as Christians, we read this stuff and we say, yeah, we know perfectly. But the lost world, they don't have any idea. They're saying unknown causes. We don't really know for sure, and they're coming up with all these ridiculous theories. But we should know as a Christian. And you say, well, then what's this all about? Why is God doing this? Why is God allowing this? Well, I'm going to be a little bit graphic here. But all those pictures that you see of the dead birds and the dead fish, just piles of them, we are coming, well, not we, because we're going to be leaving, but the lost world is coming to a place in time, a point in time, where that's not going to be fish and birds and cattle. It's going to be people. You say, what are you talking about? Revelation 9:18 says, By these three was the third part of men killed, by the fire and by the smoke and by the brimstone, which issued out of their mouths. The Bible gives a